Buy these phones mid 2019. That video's coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome back to the channel. Buy these phones mid 2019. Now, this video comes as a direct response to my video the other day when we talked about which phones I would hold off buying. They're still good phones, but hold off buying. But I'm gonna break this video down into several categories. The first one being, are you looking for a new phone? And we'll talk about each one. Those are gonna be these phones right here. If you can guess these before I reveal what they are, let me know down below. The next category is gonna be looking for a used device. And the third and final category will be what I recommend are some of the best bargain picks you can find, also used or, refurbished, something like that. So let's begin with the first of the new devices. Okay, so looking for a phone, a new phone. The first of this is going to be the S10. Now, I'm sure you guessed that this was going to be in here. So let's get this one out of the way first. Now, how I chose these devices was that I thought about when a new phone launches later this year, the new iPhones, the Pixel 4, are you going to be a little bit, jealous of those new phones? Are you going to have a little bit of buyer's remorse? Note 10 Pro comes out. Are you going to care too much? And I think if you go with any of the S10s series, that's the S10e, the S10, the S10 Plus, you might maybe consider the Note 10 Pro, but it's going to be really tough because these phones are 2019 phones and they all have up-to-date specs. And I think that if you get any of these, even if you bought it right now mid 2019, you'll be fine and you probably won't have any thoughts about upgrading. Maybe you'll see it and you'll be like, oh, that's a nice feature. Maybe I should have waited, but you're not going to be too disappointed. So this is the first pick, any of the S10 lineup devices. My next pick is the Google Pixel 3a lineup here for mid 2019. If you buy this phone, it didn't come out too long ago. I think you're going to be pretty happy with what you get on the Pixel 3a, 3a XL. This phone offers so much bang for the buck. You'll be pretty impressed with it, giving you a flagship camera, really good battery life, OLED screen, a pretty sizable screen. Yes, you don't get the latest design here with the 3a, but if you do get the 3a lineup, the Pixel 4 is going to come out and it's going to be probably twice as much, and you're not going to have buyer's remorse because you're going to be like, well, I got my Pixel 3a for a really great price and it has, 2019 stuff on it. So I think you'll really like the Pixel 3a, 3a XL if you're in that, you don't want to pay more than $500 for a phone category. And OnePlus 7 Pro, how could we not? I mean, look at that display. Isn't it just fantastic? No notch, no cutouts, no nothing. Just absolutely beautiful here. Display on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, the reason why I would pick this phone new is because OnePlus typically comes out with a phone every 6 months or so. So if you buy it now, you got at least till November, December, maybe a little bit earlier, depending on how they want to roll out their next phone before it gets updated. So you might want to get on it now if you're buying a new phone. OnePlus 7 Pro has the latest processor, some really good cameras. They're not the best on the market, but they're pretty good cameras nonetheless. Pretty good battery life, not the best, but has amazing fast charging. This phone offers one of the best display, if not the best display experience on a phone out there today. So buying this right now new, I do not think will disappoint you. So that's another pick for looking for a new phone. Now my next pick, I did not even want to put an iPhone in here because Apple's going to update their phones in just a few months here. But if you just have to have an iPhone right now and you want a new one, I recommend the iPhone XS Max. Now, pump the brakes. I know a lot of people are going to disagree and say, what are you talking about? The XR is a much better deal than that overpriced iPhone XS Max. I get it. I hear you out there. But hear me out. If you can trade in your older phone, you could get a substantial discount on your iPhone XS Max. And the reason why I'm picking this is because the XR is going to be, I feel like, more substantially upgraded than the XS Max. This phone is a little bit more future-proof for me because of the OLED screen. It's a larger display, dual cameras. It just feels like a more premium phone than the XR. And for that being said, at this point in the year, I would just wait for the 10 our second generation, but if I wanted an iPhone right now, I would at least want the best if I'm gonna buy a new phone. So that's why I'm putting the XS Max here in the phone I would buy, but I wouldn't buy it outright. I would try to get a trade-in on this phone to get it under $1,000. So looking for a used phone, let's begin with the iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone 10. I recommend both of these if you're looking for a bargain used phone. Now you have to look on places like Swappa, eBay, refurbished to get these at great deals, because right now they're still, $600, $700, $800 if you buy them with Apple or you buy these new. So if you look for these used, you could find some good deals. And these are my first recommendations. They got A11 processors on them. They still have 4K 60 recording. They're both getting the latest iOS 13. They're both kind of just as fast as the new iPhones. The cameras are not quite as good in Smart HDR as the newer iPhones out there, but they feel just as premium as any iPhone to date. And really, these are excellent phones still that really didn't even need to be upgraded in 2018. So if you buy these phones, the 8 Plus or the iPhone 10, you find it at a bargain price, you're going to be a very happy user of these two. Now, the iPhone 10 has worse battery life, so if you do want better battery life, consider the iPhone 8 Plus over here on the left. And the 8 Plus also came in product red, so if you really like red phones, you can get the iPhone 8 Plus in product red. You couldn't get that for the iPhone 10. The iPhone 10 only came in silver and space gray, so keep those things in mind. But these are my first picks for buying a pretty good used smartphone on a deal. My next pick, and you probably guessed this one as well, has got to be the S9 and S9 Plus. Now, the S10s came out and overshadowed these big time, and these were never that popular because the S8 and S8 Plus before it looked almost identical. But these are very good smartphones now that you can find at much cheaper prices in the Galaxy S9 Plus and S9. These will serve you very well if you decide to pick up one of these two devices. They're both running the same software essentially as the S10, the One UI on both of them. They're both very fast and they both have really good cameras, but if you care more about the camera, you want to go with the Galaxy S9 Plus because the S9 Plus has that dual setup camera that allows you to, just get a little bit more telephoto zooming, whereas the S9 gives you the singular camera. They have fingerprint sensors in the right place. They're very premium feeling. As a matter of fact, these feel a lot similar to the OnePlus 7 Pro than the S10s do because of their sides and the curves on this phone. They do landscape mode. They just do quite a bit, and they're very feature-rich devices for the money. So if you're looking for a great used phone, you don't want to pay for the S10, the S9 series should not be overlooked. This gets my recommendation as the second phone I would buy or look at used. And my next phone that I would pick if I was looking for a used smartphone is the OnePlus 6T. Now this phone is not even a year old, and this phone has come down substantially on the market. I found this phone at $365. I'm not sure if it's still available, that one I seen, but I mean, that's fantastic for what you get in here. You're getting like 8 gigabytes of RAM. You can also get this thing with an 845 CPU. This phone is a monster in performance. It has an optic AMOLED display, dual camera on it, 128 gigabytes of storage. I mean, this thing is a powerhouse in the OnePlus 6T. It's not even a year old, and it still looks up to date with its little notch up there, a little teardrop looking notch on the device. So overall, I mean, OnePlus 6T, this phone, if you're looking for a used device, this can be a great option for you. Just make sure it's in good condition. The battery's good to go. If you're looking for a better camera experience, I would pick one of the other two options I mentioned, the iPhone 10 8 Plus or the Galaxy S9 series over this one. Though if you do care a lot about camera, but if you care about speed, performance, stuff like that, you probably want to check out the OnePlus 6T. Now my next pick would be the Galaxy S8 and Note 8 for our bargain devices. Now I found the Note 8 at under $300 on eBay. Not everybody's selling at that price point, but I'm just saying, like, you can find these phones right here at bargain prices right now, the S8 as well as the Note 8. Now these phones aren't quite as fast, they're not quite as good in the camera, and they're even not quite as good in the battery life as the S9 or the S10 series devices. They're actually a little bit behind both of those, but they're not so far behind in display and premium quality and software, and just overall experience is not too far off from those new phones. So if you are considering buying a Samsung phone, but you don't want to pay, even $400 or $500, you want to pay maybe $300. If you look around, you might be able to snag one of these at those price points. And with all the productivity tools that come with the Galaxy Note 8, this can still be a very useful smartphone. Now, the only problem with these is that they're not going to be updated too much longer. These are not phones I would consider buying and keeping the next 3 to 5 years. You buy these, you're probably going to go maybe 2 years before you're considering jumping to a new phone. But for a bargain, these are my first on the list, the Galaxy S8 series and the Note 8 series. My next bargain pick is the iPhone 7 Plus, iPhone 7 series. Now, with Apple releasing an iPod Touch in 2019 with the same CPU as the 7 Plus, what does that tell you? Well, that tells you that this phone is not quite outdated just yet. And I don't mean in software. We know Apple gets updates, but I mean in processor. This processor is still very powerful for the 7 Plus, and unless you're like really paying attention, you probably wouldn't notice too much of a difference between a 7 Plus and even a 10s Max in everyday performance. The 7 Plus was that good in performance. I never upgraded because I wanted better performance. I upgraded because of the design of the iPhone 10 series devices. So go with an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus if you're looking for a bargain phone, iPhone here in 2019, mid 2019. I would skip out the 6S series just because the 7 and 7 Plus have a much better CPU than the 6S and 6S Plus. And my final pick for a great phone to buy if you're looking for a bargain used phone is the OnePlus 6. Now this one came out last year. It does have a little bit of a thicker notch on the front, does give you a dual camera, fingerprint in the right place, Snapdragon 845. You can get it with 8 gigabytes of RAM. It's a powerhouse just like the 6T and just like any other current phone today, and it still gets updates, of course. So OnePlus 6, you can find this thing really low prices in comparison to a lot of these phones I mentioned today. And because OnePlus tends to update their devices so frequently, their older devices just kind of get forgotten about. And with that being said, they don't retain as much resale value. So you see these come down quite quickly. So with that being said, I've seen this thing at $350. You can see it right here, $350. Somebody's selling their OnePlus 6, and this phone just came out 1 year ago. So I mean, really, you can get this at bargain price point in the OnePlus 6, and it's gonna offer you a great phone. Okay, so these are my phones that I would pick for 2019, mid 2019, as phones to buy across new, used, as well as bargain used. We called them all out here. And one thing you're probably noticing is that the Huawei devices are not included here. I do have a couple of those, but I didn't include them because we don't know the future of Huawei, and I'm not going to recommend a phone when we don't even know if your software is going to be updated. So I just can't do that at the moment. And also, I haven't really reviewed many Xiaomi phones, and there's some great ones out there. So maybe we'll consider reviewing those soon, but these are the ones I've experienced and I think are great picks here. If you like any of these cases, or you want to know where'd you get that case, where'd you get that case, where'd you get that, let me know. I will update the description if enough people ask about, update the description with all the case links down below. And that's it for me. If you guys found this video helpful, entertaining, informing, click the like button for me. And one question before you go: are you updating to any of these phones? Have you already done so? Do you use any of these phones and you want to share your experience? Consider doing that down below. Or are you waiting for the iPhone 11, Note 10 Pro, Pixel 4? You just don't care about upgrading your phone anymore. Let us know. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace.